My name is Jackie Wise, and I work as an accredited representative at JFCS in the Immigration Legal Services Department. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about who can bring family members and how they do that. I'm first going to talk about who's able to bring family members to the United States on a permanent basis. So we're going to talk about who U.S. citizens are able to bring and who legal permanent residents or individuals who have green cards can bring to the United States. It's the same process for U.S. citizens and green card holders, but it varies on what relatives each category is permitted to apply for. So first we can talk about who green card holders are able to bring. They can bring their spouse, their child, under 21, or an unmarried child who is over 21. That's it. That's all they're able to apply to bring while being a green card holder. U.S. citizens, on the other hand, can apply for a spouse, parents, children younger than 21, children over 21 who are unmarried, children over 21 who are married, and also their siblings, so their brothers or sisters. It varies a lot on how long the process is, depending on which category they're in. Depending on the type of case that it is, so what the status of the petitioner is and what the status of their family member abroad is, it can take anywhere from 6 months to 12 years for USCIS to approve the petition. And that's even just the first step. It really varies a lot, and it depends on the relationship that the petitioner has with their family member and on which office the petition is processed through. For what USCIS refers to as an immediate relative, that's anyone who is a spouse, a child younger than 21, or a parent, the processing time tends to be a lot shorter. Kind of the older the child gets or the farther away the relationship gets. So when the child's over 21, if the child is married, or if it's for a sibling of a U.S. citizen, the processing time gets a lot longer for those applications. So one of the things that you also have to think of is what type of evidence those types of cases will need. It's generally the same type of evidence for each case. So proof of the status of the petitioner. And then the next thing that's equally as important is proof of the relationship between the petitioner and their family member. Once that petition is submitted to USCIS and they get a chance to review it and approve it, which again can take anywhere from 6 months to 12 years depending on the relationship, then it could go on to the second step, which essentially is the person abroad, so the relative abroad, applying actually for the visa through an embassy. So the first step is kind of asking for permission to apply for the visa, and then the second step is actually applying for the visa. What that process looks like is essentially repeating a lot of the same information. So some people do get frustrated that they have to continually kind of present the same documents over and over again, but they're different places to upload them and different agencies asking for them, because USCIS is under the Department of Homeland Security, but the visa interviews, the embassies are under the Department of State. Your relative doesn't have to have a passport when you're applying for them to come to the United States, but they'll need to get a passport before applying for the visa. And then on top of that is all of the information that goes into the visa application itself, which includes address history, work history, education history, and kind of a newer aspect to those applications is all phone numbers, emails, and social media accounts for at least the last 5 years. The time between the first step and the second step, so the seeking permission to apply and actually applying for the visa, can also vary, again, depending on the relationship between the person in the United States and their relative abroad. For immediate relatives of U.S. citizens, which for USCIS is spouse, parents, or children younger than 21, there's no wait between the first and second steps. All of the other categories are subject to a wait generally, as there's a cap for the visas able to be issued to people in those categories. It's hard to predict how long something can take because it changes each month. They'll release something called a visa bulletin each month that will tell you the receipt date or priority date of the applications that are being worked on. The Department of State always recommends that people don't sell their house or quit their jobs until they actually have that visa in their hand. If you're interested in bringing a relative or hearing more information about that, you can contact our department, our intake coordinator. The number is 412-904-5966, and that will put you in touch with someone who can talk to you about your situation, complete an intake, and see if we might be the right people to help you out with what you need.